Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Alok Agrawal and I welcome you all on today's lecture, that is second lecture of our course Internal Combustion Engine, course code ME 501. So in last lecture we have seen the introduction part of our course, and now we are moving into the course. So in this lecture, that is lecture 2, we will see the basic component of IC engine, internal combustion engine, and what are the nomenclature associated, important nomenclature associated with internal combustion engine. So this is how the basic layout of our internal combustion engine looks like. So there are various components. We will discuss it one by one. So the first one is cylindrical block. See, you can see in this figure, this is cylindrical block. Okay, this is the main body of the engine which hold the complete engine. Above that, above cylindrical block, there is a cylinder on which the piston reciprocate, on which the combustion phenomena take place. This is cylinder. Next one is piston. Piston is a component, moving component of the engine. Here, the thermal energy of the fuel converted into mechanical energy. Here, the fuel burns inside the cylinder, and when the fuel burns, it produces thermal energy, and that thermal energy is converted into mechanical energy via this piston. This is the reciprocating part of the engine. This reciprocates inside the cylinder. Next one is combustion chamber. Combustion chamber is a space actually, a space between the piston and the cylinder head where the fuel come inside the cylinder, it burns, it expands, and here the whole combustion phenomena takes place. That's why it's called combustion chamber. It is not a component, it is a space which is of variable volume. When the piston moves up, the space decreases, and when the piston moves down, the space increases or the volume increases. Next one is intake manifold. This is intake manifold. This is a pipe through which the charge comes inside the combustion chamber. Here from this is the path followed by the charge when it is coming inside the combustion chamber. This is exhaust manifold. After the fuel burns, the exhaust gases are taken out from the combustion chamber through this exhaust manifold. Next is inlet and exhaust valve. There are two valves, one in with inlet manifold and another one is exhaust manifold. Their function is to open and close on a particular time when required. When the charge wants to come inside the combustion chamber, the inlet valve open, and when the exhaust gas need to be taken out from the cylinder, this exhaust valve gets open. Rest of the time, both the valves will remain closed. Next one is spark plug or fuel injector. See, if we are talking about a spark ignition engine, we have to put here a spark plug, and if we are talking about compression ignition engine, here in place of a spark plug, fuel injector will be there. So we'll discuss it in detail later on. But if it is a spark ignition engine, this here spark plug will be there, and if it is compression ignition engine, we have to keep here fuel injector. Next one is connecting rod. See, when the energy of fuel is getting converted into mechanical energy via this piston will move down, and when this piston will move down, in order to convert this reciprocating motion into rotary motion, we are having one connecting rod. This is called connecting rod. Next is crankshaft. Crankshaft is this rotating part, rotating component, and with this connecting rod, we are able to convert our reciprocating motion into rotary motion, and that the component which is getting rotated is called crankshaft. Next is crank pin. The pin connects the connecting rod and crankshaft is called crank pin. The pin which connects the connecting rod to the piston is called gudgeon pin. Camshaft and its mechanism. It is not visible in this figure, but see this crankshaft, this valve need to be open and closed for in a particular time, sorry. So to make it possible, there will be a camshaft mechanism. which is governed as per the rotation of this crankshaft. So with this crankshaft rotation, depending upon the rotation of crankshaft, this inlet and exhaust valve gets open and closed. And for this, we used this camshaft mechanism. Next is flywheel. It is also not visible in this figure. What is the function of flywheel? It stores energy when the engine is working, and when there is a requirement of energy when engine is not working, this engine takes energy from this flywheel. So this flywheel is a energy storing device. So these are the basic components of the engine. Now moving to the important nomenclature we will use throughout the course. That is, first one is cylinder bore. You have seen cylinder. So cylinder is of circular shape. So the inner diameter of the cylinder is called cylinder bore. Next is piston area. See, there will be a very little clearance between the cylinder and the piston. So we take the piston diameter same as that of cylinder bore, and when we'll look it from the top, we will see a circle. So piston area is nothing but the area of the circle of having diameter that is of cylinder bore. Next important term is stroke. Stroke means the nominal distance through which the working piston move. See, in the reciprocating engine, piston will moving at the top and again coming back to the down. So the distance covered by the piston between two reversal, it will move up and goes down, then again move up, then again goes down. So the distance between the two reversal is called stroke or stroke length. Next is stroke to bore ratio. Stroke to bore ratio means stroke length is denoted by L and bore diameter is denoted by D. So this L by D is called stroke to bore ratio, and it is very important because it defines the type of engine. That if the bore diameter is less than stroke length, we called it as a under square engine. When it is bore diameter is more than stroke length, we called it as a over square engine, and when they are equal, we called it as a square engine. This terminology is used when we solve numerical later on. Next is dead center. Dead center is the position of working piston and the moving part which are mechanically connected to its movement, and when the direction of piston motion is reversed. See, piston is moving to top and coming down. So the farthest distance the piston can move, we called it as a dead center. If it is moving top up to that point is called top dead center, and when the piston is moving down, the downest point we called it as a bottom dead center. So there are two type of dead center. Dead center means that point beyond which piston will not be able to move. So in top there will be a dead center, in bottom there will be a dead center, and we call it as a top dead center and bottom dead center. Next, very important is swept volume, or we sometimes called it as a displacement volume. See, when piston moves either from top dead center to bottom dead center or from bottom dead center to top dead center, it will cover some distance, some length, that is called stroke length. And while covering that stroke length, it will cover some area as well. And when we multiply that area into the length, we get volume. So the volume swept by the piston when it moves from one dead center to another dead center is called swept volume. And how we can calculate it? We can calculate it by multiplying area with the stroke length. Area of the piston multiplied by the stroke length. Area we know that is pi by 4 d square, where d is nominal diameter or bore diameter. Next is cubic capacity or engine capacity. See how we can get the cubic capacity. You have seen that this engine is of this much cc. You have heard lot of time that our bike is of 100 cc, that car Maruti 800 is of 800 cc. So that is called cubic capacity, cubic capacity of the engine. So how we can calculate the cubic capacity? It is depend on this swept volume. If the engine is single cylinder engine, then the cubic capacity is equal to the swept volume. But if it is multi-cylinder engine, suppose for example there are 4-cylinder arrangement are there, inline engine. We have seen inline engine in last class. So there are 4 cylinder in a series, and each cylinder is having a swept volume of 200. So what will be the cubic capacity of the engine? 200 into multiplied by number of cylinder, that is 4, which gives us 800 cc, cubic centimeter. So this is called cubic capacity. Next is clearance volume. It is the volume remains in combustion chamber when the piston is at the top dead center. When piston reaches top dead center, there are some space left between the cylinder head and piston head, and that space is called, the remaining space is called clearance volume. Now, cylinder volume, the total volume of cylinder, that is when the piston is at bottom dead center. What is the volume of combustion chamber? We called it as the cylinder volume. So it will be combination of two volume, that is clearance volume plus swept volume. When the piston is at top dead center, there are some space left, that is called clearance volume, and when the piston comes down to bottom dead center, it covers swept volume. So total volume will be combination of clearance volume and swept volume. Next is compression ratio. So compression ratio is very important term. It defines, it is we will use this term throughout the course. So compression ratio is the ratio of volume when the piston is at bottom dead center to the clearance volume is called compression ratio. So when the piston is at bottom dead center, the volume of the combustion chamber is total volume, that is cylinder volume V, and when the piston is at top dead center, the volume of the combustion chamber is Vc. So it is the ratio of V by Vc, and this V can be written as Vc plus Vs, and we will differentiate it. We get compression ratio R is equal to 1 plus Vs by Vc. So this is very important term. We will use it in lot of numericals, and this is very important term, and these are all the important nomenclature that are in use. Okay, so thank you for today's class, and we will discuss working of engines in our next class. Thank you very much.